Hey, second graders. Today we are on Deep Dive 30 with Module 2. You will need your notebook. Forgot to put that on here, but your spiral notebook. We're going to be using the response section today. That's your notebook. Oh, today we are going to ask ourselves, how do I improve my sentences using conjunctions? Does anyone remember what a conjunction is? We have not talked about them in a while, but a conjunction is a connecting word. They help us connect ideas and help us make our writing more interesting. So those are words like but, so, and. I think those are the three that we've been working on. And then when we add those in, we always add a comma before them. So it combines two simple sentences to make our writing more interesting. And it makes it into a compound sentence. We are going to look at two sentences from our comparison of the two John Henry books. So John Henry, the first one we read, John Henry, An American Legend, was written by Ezra Jack Keats. So when it says in the Keats book, that tells us that that's the first book that we read with John Henry on the cover with a yellow shirt. Again, Keats is the author, the person who wrote the book. So then Lester, when we see Lester, that's the second John Henry book that we read. That book that was a little bit bigger and only your teacher had a copy of. So let's look at our two sentences that we have from comparing the two books. You can read it with me or just listen. In the Keats book, the drill breaks. That was the machine in the cave. In the Lester book, the drill does not break. Okay, so we have two sentences telling us how the books are different. So how can we combine these two sentences to make just one sentence by using or, so, and, or but? Would we say in the Keats book the drill breaks, or in the Lester book the drill does not break? That doesn't really sound good. We'll cross that one out. What about in the Keats book, the drill breaks, so in the Lester book, the drill does not break? That doesn't really sound good either. When we say so, that's more like a cause and effect. Let's try and. In the Keats book, the drill breaks, and in the Lester book, the drill does not break. When we say and, we should have two things that are similar. And these are kind of opposite. So let's see if it makes sense with what we have left, the conjunction but. In the Keats book, the drill breaks. But in the Lester book, the drill does not break. Ding, ding, ding. Here is our compound sentence. So we have that first sentence. In the Keats book, the drill breaks. Then we have our conjunction, or a connecting word. And notice there is a comma before it. But in the Lester book, the drill does not break. So we just took those two simple sentences, combined them to make a compound sentence that makes our writing more interesting. Another compound word that we didn't talk about, but we could use, is the word yet. In the Keats book, the drill breaks. Yet in the Lester book, the drill does not break. So it shows the two differences in the stories. Let's try a couple more. In the Keats book, John races against a steam drill. In the Lester book, John races against a drill. What do you notice about these two sentences? Are they telling us something that happens in both books, or are they telling us something that is different in both books? Okay, these two sentences are telling us the same thing. John Henry races against a drill in both books. So let's see what we should use for our conjunction. Let's look at our first sentence again. In the Keats book, John races against a steam drill. Look at that, comma, and in the Lester book, John races against a drill. Notice we used the conjunction and in this sentence because he races against a steam drill in both of the books. So again, adding that comma and to connect the sentences makes this sentence more interesting to read. We are going to look at our sentences from our evidence organizer, and this is why you needed your notebook. We are actually going to write a sentence, or two, or three, in your response section of your notebook using a conjunction. So we are going to use this section here. So we have what happened in the Keats book, that first John Henry book, and then we have what happened in the Lester book, or the second John Henry book that we read. We'll highlight these in different colors so that they're easier to see. So we have Keats book, and then we have the Lester book. On the Keats side, we have born with a hammer in his hand. Mom laughs at him, bangs his hammer around the cabin. Then we have Dad gives 2 hammers when he leaves home. Belong to his granddaddy, and more details about the hammer. So this tells us what is different in both of the books. So when we have something that's different, what conjunction did we say that we would use? Not and, we would use the conjunction comma but. So looking at our sentence stem, we can take 2 of those sentences, and then we're going to put comma but between them. So these are differences, remember. So, which ones do we want? Let's start with that first detail. Maybe that'll make it simpler. I'm just going to write it right here. This is what you can write in your notebook. If you want to write your own, then you may do that. So we write in the Keats book, John is born with a hammer in his hand, comma, then we need a conjunction. In the Lester book, John's dad gives him 2 hammers when he leaves home. What conjunction should we plug in the middle? Good, the conjunction but. So we have in the Keats book, John is born with a hammer in his hand. Sentence number 1. Using comma but to combine with in the Lester book, John's dad gives him 2 hammers when he leaves home. So it's showing that these are 2 different things that happened in 2 different books about the same person. So our conjunction here is but. You can pause the video if you need more time to write. If you want to write your own sentence, you may do that as well. When you're done, you are done with the deep dive for today.